episode 5. We are so excited to come to you today. What are we talking about today, ladies? We got some good topics for y'all today.
We do.
We're going to talk about silent commit versus announcing, and you guys will know more about what that means in a minute. Pros and cons of committing early and taking all your visits or not. So we've all been through that process. So I'm going to start off with the silent commit versus announcing. And what that means is my son had the option to silent commit because he wanted to take all his visits, he thought, which they get 5 visits when they have offers. So they get 5 visits. Jaden plays football. So he went from high school to getting all these college offers, scholarship offers. And when he announced, or rather he told Notre Dame that he wanted to commit, he asked them, what are your rules about me taking all my visits? Because I get 5. And the coach said, you can silent commit, which meant don't post that you're committed to Notre Dame. But they also told him that if he silent committed and they found someone else in his spot, he could lose his scholarship, his offer. So Jaden thought about it, and he decided, after long prayer and talking to his parents and talking, well, me and his dad, and talking to some mentors and actually a couple of friends, he decided that he knew he wanted to go to Notre Dame. So he did that big announcement. We did a big video, and it was a lot of fun. So what was your guys' experience with your commitments?
Jada, actually, when she committed to, after talking to the coaches and coming up with her top 5 schools. We did the same thing. We had a conversation, many conversations about what school. You know, we went through all of the things on picking your school. And when she decided to commit to Cal, she made a phone call to the coach, and she asked, because I know when Jada committed, it was a time where everybody was doing commitment videos.
Yes.
So that was a big thing. So even though Jada wasn't able to go on visits
because of the
COVID,
pandemic, Jaden either really.
So it was like that was taken away. So she felt like, can I at least commit to Cal? Because these coaches are constantly recruiting. So you can't think just because they express interest in you that they stop the recruiting process.
They don't.
Because until you commit, those positions are still available for other students. So she called Cal, she talked to Coach Sharman, and she said, she gave her verbal commitment, and then she said, but please don't announce it until I have a chance to do my video, my commitment video. So they honored that, and you know, Sharman was like, okay, Jada, but you know, what's the big deal with this commitment video thing? Because then she's feeling like, look, you're committed to Cal, that means that we're moving forward. So, you know, it was an integrity thing on Jada's behalf, just saying, just give me a minute, you know, let me do my video. So she did her commitment video, and then she did call the other coaches and let them know that she had decided to attend Cal, and then
I just had to start, because I know about it, but do you want to talk about how heartbreaking that was that she had to break the news to the other coaches?
Yes, yeah, that's a good point, because when you're talking to coaches about coming to their school, you start to build a rapport. And Jada was recruited, from her freshman year in high school. She had talked to one particular school, and you know, you build relationships. So it was very hard for her to make the phone calls telling the other schools that she decided to commit to Cal. I mean, she cried, you know, a couple times, you know, and the coaches, I can say that they were very supportive, because they know, you know, we've gotten all these offers. So it was a tough situation. Emotionally, she had to grow up a little bit for that. And then with Layla, her commitment, she was actually offered 2 different scholarships, and one was way across the water. So she decided when she went to school on her unofficial visit that she would let, was it her unofficial? I think it was her, no, it was on her official visit when she would let the coaches know that she was going to commit. So she actually gave her commitment then on her visit.
Same thing happened to Jaden, and he was like, I gotta call these other coaches, and he was like, I really like these other coaches from the other schools. And then the cool thing about what he went through, he was scared to call them, and he was like, but they were, like you said, they were very supportive, and they were like, oh, we understand, like, we're proud of you, we're happy for you, you still got a spot if you change your mind. And there was a couple of schools that actually kept calling him, and they're like, you sure? You sure? You sure? And so that was like rough for him, because he was like, yeah, I'm good, coach, I'm good. But one of the schools, I honestly don't remember which school, and it doesn't really matter, they actually sent him a commitment, what is it? No, the national
letter of intent.
The letter of intent. they sent it to him. No, they sent him the official offer. Remember on the official offer day, Jaden got his beautiful package from Notre Dame. It was amazing, pictures and everything. And then he got another one from another school. They're like, we just really want you to know that you always have a spot with us. If you change your mind or something goes bad over there. So that was really cool. Yeah, that was really cool. The other schools were like, yeah, they stopped. There was still a couple of schools that were still recruiting him, but.
How about Mr. Chance?
So for Chance, it was a little different. He got offered Rhode Island in the 8th grade. They offered him super early. And I just think that was a loyalty thing on his behalf. So when he got ready to, even though he had, all those offers, 19 offers or whatever, all these different schools, they're talking to your kids all times of day, all in the middle of the night. When he committed, that was rough for me because I didn't even know. I was mad. I was like, you said what? Yeah. Girl. I didn't talk about I think I talked to his daddy for a week. I was mad. They were like, you don't want to come in here and meet these coaches now. So then, of course, it changed when we went to the official visit. But I just think because they were down with him since the 8th grade, he committed to them first. And for me, by him being a Cali kid, I was like, "You going where?" I never heard of Rhode Island. So we that was our only official visit was to that school. We actually went twice. And then when he decommitted, and that's another thing, coaches change all the time. There's a lot of reasons why kids will feel the need to decommit, because you're in a relationship with all these coaches for so many months, and then they leave, and it's like, wait a minute, the kids don't feel like, well, this may not be a good spot for me. So when he decommitted, then we opened up that portal again. That was scary though. I watched my baby, his face like, Dad, what am I doing?
That's a lot.
When you talk about when you talk about that takes us to the pros and cons of committing early, because that is a big factor. You don't know what's going to happen down the road. Right. Staff is going to change. For us, we were just there, and I woke up to a flurry of texts in the Boston article. It was like, y'all see this? I was like, is it April? Scary.
Is this April Fool's? I was like, you are lying to me. We had literally just flown back. And so when the coach got fired, I could not believe it. I mean, I was in tears. He was, it was just a scary time for our house. And then when I was like, looked at Ben, I was like, what are we gonna do? Right. And he's like, we're gonna decommit. So when we decommitted, I was like, that's scary. Like, oh my God. Yeah. So that night, I'm gonna say, I think LMU called, I don't know, they were the first. I don't know what time it was, but they called first, and we went on that unofficial, and then we got our official.
Before we go a little deep into that, I want to talk back about you mentioning that was your only visit. Jaden's school was his only visit. Jada was her only unofficial visit. You guys did your scavenger hunt. And then Layla did the only visit?
She did an unofficial and an official visit at LMU.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You don't want to, there's a lot of people that say, oh, I just want the free trips.
That's what I was going to say. Taking all your trips, it is a personal choice. For us, I think that Jaden had already made up his mind because we were Zooming. Like they said, we're talking to these coaches every single day, over and over. They call you, they send you edits, and they send you these bomb pictures of your kid in their jersey. I mean, Jaden has dozens and dozens and dozens of edits. I'm gonna keep them all, put them in the book. So that's gonna be he show his grandkids one day. But with his, his name on it, one school even sent him him in his jersey and his number on top of a crowd being lifted by the students. So, and then they had one, well, you might know who this is, but they had one of him on the Hollywood sign. That one was really cool. But you do have to decide, do I want to take all my visits? And we told Jaden, but it's up to you. And he was kind of I want to take all my visits. Most of the kids were the hype of all the visits. But because he had already made up his mind, we kind of honed him in and said, but it's better to have, like you mentioned, integrity. And you've already decided where you want to go. You've already kind of talked to these coaches. For you to tell them that you want to decommit or whatever, or you want to take all your visits and you hope that they would let you, that's kind of not a cool thing to do. So we decided we weren't taking all 5 visits because I think he had already ruled out.
And y'all,
So
it's
was
time.
before he actually committed, or after he committed to ND?
It's actually, it was before. It was before because he was like, I don't know, should I commit? I want to take all my visits. And then we were like, well, why?
But it was kind of after too.
Yeah.
After the coach left. Y'all thought about
No, that was different.
Oh.
So going back to the pros and cons of committing early, we had a similar situation. The head coach just left. He went, everybody knows this, Coach Kelly left to LSU. And my son comes down the stairs and he goes, Dad, he looked like a ghost, like he saw a ghost. He goes, he shows us the phone, he goes, Coach Kelly left. And like the blood had drained out of his face and my heart sank to my toes. And I looked at Lamar and Lamar was like, what? And so it was like, just like you said, we were like, it was chaotic in our house and we were worried and we were scared and we were sad. And then immediately we started talking to the other coaches that had recruited Jaden, and they kind of helped us stay calm. But immediately, like when that was announced, I want to say within 5 minutes, Jaden started getting text messages from like 4 or 5 different schools. They were like, what's up? You still committed? Like, you know, you want to come check us out? And so Jaden was like, Dad, let's just call me that. You know what? Let's book those visits. So then the coach from the ND was like, no, you're not. So it was kind of fun and scary at the same time. It was a terrifying time.
Yeah.
But it lasted for us, I think, like 3 or 4 days. And then within 3 or 4 days, Coach Freeman got the head coaching job and showed up at our house. That was cool.
Yeah, but I think you can, you know, you got to weed through all the noise.
Yeah.
And for us, we were like, yeah, it sounds exciting, you know, going to Hawaii and going to East Coast, you know, they're whining and dining you, sending limos, you know, taking you on all these places, showing you the school. But it's a lot of work. So when you think about it, we were like, you know, that's time consuming. Ain't nobody got time to be going on, I mean, a free trip, but it's really not a free trip because and then, you know, when you get to the end and you know you're not going to go to that school or you have no interest in going, you know, my whole thing is like, just don't waste their money and it's your time.
I agree with
I
that.
think that though, if you don't know, like if you have a top 5, you don't, because I've heard of so many people going to an official visit and thinking they're going to go to this school and go on the official visit and totally change their mind about the school.
But that's different though.
Well, if you don't have and then like with Jada and even Layla, because it was still a COVID time. So I know there was like a sense of urgency because you didn't know like how many more offers am I going to get. And because you couldn't physically, and one of Jada's biggest thing was, I don't want to go to a school where I've never touched the soil. Like I can't decide to go to Utah, or if I can't decide to go to Washington if I haven't physically been there. So for us, driving up to Cal and being able to go on that scavenger hunt that I talked about, that they just gave us a tour. Yeah, it gave her a sense of
the spirit and the environment of the school.
Right.
When I know that for us, when we went to ND is a Catholic school, but it's very spiritual, and they have this day where the president, who's a priest, he has day of prayer, but he invites all faiths, all beliefs to come and just congregate and give their time to whatever their faith is or whatever their belief is. And so it's really unified. I'm getting chills talking about it because when you're there, you really feel that sense of spirit, of love, of community. And it really is like a brotherhood in the football program and all the sports. Like all the sports really support each other. So going to the campus was extremely important. So yes, I agree with her. If you don't know, definitely take all your visits. Because
that's what they're there for.
Right, but
if you know,
this is one thing that I know. Usually, the kids commit to the last one. Why? Because it's the freshest on their mind. They all pretty much give you the same thing. You get the red carpet rolled out for you. You get the meals. You get like some, you know, the welcome committee and the beautiful things that they leave in your room when you get there.
And sometimes it can be about.
You don't have to be enamored by all of that.
Right.
You
That's
have
what I'm
to
saying.
Remember, like,
they give
where
you all
do
the
I
same
fit
thing.
in?
Right.
Where do I fit in? You have to stay grounded on what it is that you want.
And you'll be able to do that because you, like I said, all of them are going to do that. So that's all fluff.
Right.
And that's all they're going to make you feel welcome. And that's wonderful. But now you go onto the campus, you start seeing the different programs they have and what the community's like and what the students are like.
And you got to make it about you.
You got to make it about you. How do you fit in?
Yeah.
How do I fit into your program? How do I fit into your defense, your offense,
are they
whatever it is you play?
recruit?
Yes. Who are they recruiting for my position? So going to the visits, you know, it's your choice. We didn't. And we had great outcomes.
Yeah.
So our kids are happy. Jaden loves Notre Dame. I know that Chance is loving LMU and your girls are loving Cal and LMU. So it's wonderful. We're so excited about it. So are we done with pros and cons about committing early? Kind of.
Yep, I think so.
I think committing early is just be aware that anything could change.
Yep.
And
Things
be ready.
happen.
Yeah. Be
Be
ready. People
ready.
get fired. People
Roll
leave.
with the punches.
Roll with the punches.
Right, and then also just remember that you are being recruited, but it is a business. So
Yeah,
absolutely.
other people
For both
are
sides.
waiting in line. Yeah, when your coaches are recruiting you, there are other people that they have to recruit. I know one instance, I talked about this in one of our other podcasts, that we were on a Zoom call for 2 hours with a school.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the Zoom call, we were definitely expecting an offer. I mean, who stays on a Zoom for 2
Oh my
hours?
God. We had at least one school do that to us. We were
Yeah.
like, what was that about?
But we did, and then at the end of the call, we asked, so where do you see Jada, in your program? And they flipped it and said, well, where do you see yourself in our program? And I was like, oh,
X.
yeah, because and they had other people that they were
Yes,
considering. So you have to know that you are a part of their vision, or you're not, and you can be a plan B. And you don't want to be a plan B for anybody. You want to be a plan
Even
A.
though Chance committed to Rhode Island and he was dead set on going, LMU, I just believe that was just God sent, just because even though we went on that visit, it was unofficial. But when we were leaving, and they looked at us and said, we know y'all, because they knew that Chance had just decommitted, but they called immediately and was like, we want to get y'all up here because we want to show y'all. Just give me 45 minutes. That was the head coach. Give me 45 minutes of your time. And I was like, 45 minutes? I want to visit. But they just wanted us to come up there and talk to them. But at the end of that 2 hours we spent with them, they were like, look, we know y'all got to do your due diligence. We know you got other considerations to make. It was a scary time for us in our house. But they were like, we're going to the portal.
Right.
And we were looking like, oh, because they were like, they had to, do what was best for them too.
Right.
So, they tell you those things. And that was scary too. It was like, ooh.
Right.
Even though they wanted him really bad, but they still got to find those missing pieces for the program to make it a great basketball program.
The portal, that's another
Yeah, we're not talking about that today.
coming to you in the near future. But going back to the early commitments and the offers, one coach, it was the very first offer. It was the very first offer that Jaden got, and the coach got on the phone with him and said, "Young man, we're very impressed with you. He said, we know everything about you. Don't get it twisted. When we offer, we've done our research," and that's what Notre Dame told us too. They're like, "Oh, honey, we know what you do on your spare time. We know what your mama don't like. We know everything."
Speaking of that, knowing everything, it's important that these kids know about posting on their social media.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think that's a given.
No, it's not a given. Because these kids don't know.
Yeah.
You gotta watch who you're around. You gotta watch the company you keep. You gotta make sure you don't do drugs. And that even if you don't do it, that you're not posting with people that are, because now, which we'll talk about later, the NIL deals. That's important. They want
your
to
image.
your image, your brand, your brand.
Yep.
So we want to talk about that later. But just know that it's important that you're not hanging around the wrong crowds.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that this coach told Jaden. He said, young man, we know a lot about you. We know that, we've talked to some of your friends, we've talked to some people that you go to school with, so we know a little bit about you.
Social media is there for a reason.
Exactly. But the main thing that he told him was, as quick as I gave you this offer, don't rest on your laurels and say, I'm good. I got these offers, I'm good. You better stay grinding, you better stay training, you better stay grinding in all areas, on the classroom, in the gym, in training, and investing in those technicians. You got to get better, because now you're going to be recruited for the next level.
Yeah.
So a lot of mistakes that kids make is that they think they're so good that they don't have to prepare for the next level. I'm gonna be good when I get there. Guess what? You better start preparing, especially when you commit and you know what kind of program you're committing to. Be prepared. Be prepared.
Our slogan
but
was
he
like,
said,
all gas, no brakes.
That's right.
Especially when you're a senior, because you think most kids that are not athletes, senior year should be like the easy year. You're doing all the senior activities. Yeah, but that's when you
actually
really
have to turn
step it up. Yeah, you have to step it up.
But he basically told Jaden, as quick as I gave you this offer, I will take it away if your grades drop and if I don't see that you're grinding and if you're not playing well. So
so it's definitely not
will be taken
sure
away.
Foot in. You still got to do your part, and once you graduate, now it's on.
Yeah.
Next level. Which is definitely, for Chance, for basketball, for our girls doing basketball, the game is different. It's faster.
It is.
So Chance had to acclimate to that. He's just now getting it, after being on campus for 2 weeks. But And he's the youngest. So
We were just
all
talking
these
about
guys
that
are
before she came.
what?
About it being a faster pace.
Oh, yeah.
and-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's intense, y'all. It's not. Jaden has got some kids in his life that they're, they think that, oh, I'm gonna be good on the next level, and he's like, no, bud, I'm telling you, you better do the work for next level. Like, you gotta start early. As soon as you know that you're going next level.
For the athletes, there's really no break.
There's
It's
no
like
break.
we graduate
No days
and then
off.
they go right to summer.
No days off.
And it's kind of like what Milk and I were talking about too, is that when they entered into high school as freshmen,
Yeah.
for Jada, she's a small guard, she's a small basketball player, and seeing those other girls there, I was like, God. I mean, I remember walking her into the gym for her first practice with the high school team, and she was little, but but they have to acclimate themselves, and they're known as the freshmen.
Yeah.
So like Layla, she's at LMU, and she was doing some task, and I was like, why are you doing that? She's like, Mom, I'm the freshman.
Scrub.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it was collecting
carry
all
all
the
the
dirty
helmets.
clothes.
Right.
Collecting all the dirty clothes for her teammates. But I mean, there's something about accepting that responsibility, having humility to do it as a freshman, being the new kid on the block, but also you have to show yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't walk in there like you play like a freshman, because you are actually there to take somebody's spot.
That's right.
As a freshman.
That's right.
So that's another thing, is being acclimated and getting yourself mentally ready, that when you go into this next level of college from high school, there's a job to be done.
Yeah, because
There's a
even
job
with
to be
Chance,
done.
I'm looking like, them boy, you playing with men.
Right.
Them men look like they be the men on Venice Beach. I'm like, ooh, my baby.
That's actually what some of Jaden's teammates told him. They told him, have you ever showered with grown men? Jaden was like, nah, but I'm good.
Y'all ain't scaring me.
He said, welcome to the grown men's club.
Right.
So yeah, but all of our children are acclimating well, and I think that's an awesome thing. But I also know that our children are leaders. And what is it saying? Leaders never choose followers. Followers always choose leaders. So be a leader. Teach your kids to be leaders. If they're not and you see it, teach them about it. Invest in it, because it's important if they want to get that spot when they go to this new school. So I don't know. That's my take.
Yeah, y'all.
So that was good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Great, ladies.
Mom Ballz. Stay tuned for the next one.
Stay tuned.
Thank you for
All right.
joining us.
Mom Ballz.